My name is Tom O'Brien. I'm father to a 5-year-old girl called Kaitlyn, who has AHC. I'm also the founder and chairman of the Alternating Hemiplegia Association of Ireland. There's about 7 families. We think there's another family who we're not in contact with. So there's a few of us, ranging in ages from 1 year up to, I understand one of the families, maybe the patient is in his 30s. The first sign we thought there might have something being wrong. She was born in November, and when my wife was at a breastfeeding clinic, she started doing something unusual with her eyes. But it was a very momentary thing, but it was something that the nurse noticed. And we actually brought her into the A&E, and of course she wasn't doing it then. And they tested her, and she responded to all the tests perfectly normal. So we just thought it was one of these things that babies do. And then, everything was fine then for Christmas, and a few days later she started kind of arching her body and things like this. And again, it looked unusual. We thought maybe it was acid reflux or something like that. And then I think the next time it happened, my wife decided to video record it, and that was around March of 2009. So she was about 4 months old, and we went into Temple Street, and I got a call from my wife one afternoon. I was in work at a big meeting actually, and she was just in tears over the phone. She was mumbling something about alternating something or other. So I obviously dropped everything and went into the hospital, and she handed me an article that had been written by the guys in Utah, I think, and it didn't make for great reading. Described a very serious condition, a very rare condition, and it obviously came as a huge bolt out of the blue, to be honest. She's 5 years old. She's doing great. It's funny, when we got the initial diagnosis, I remember the doctor saying things like, well, it'd be great if she has a sense of danger, if she knows who you are, and this sort of thing. And I thought, my God, that's that's fairly serious stuff, because she seemed like a normal, happy little baby. So when I look back now, she's full of fun. She's loves her Byron the dinosaur and playing outside, and loves engaging with other kids and everything. She loves playing with her younger sister and her younger brother. She has her bad days, but she's just a wonderful kid, and she's enjoying school and things like that. So, when she was younger, they were actually a bit more frequent. She still gets very regular dystonia in her legs, especially if she gets tired, or she's in a swimming pool or something like that after a long time in the swimming pool. And then she will get hemiplegic arms from time to time. Her full body episodes used to be, I'd say, every couple of weeks when she was smaller. I think the gap now for these full body episodes is a little bit longer now. But when they come, they're bad. They can go on for 3-4 days, and it's tough going because you're trying to use the opportunities when she wakes up out of sleep to feed her and things like that, and it's hard going on her. But she bounces back. She did have a seizure in 2013, which was very scary. It was the first seizure. I met the ambulance when it arrived in the hospital. That wasn't nice. It took them a little while to control it. And she was in hospital for a few days, sharing a bed with her 6'5" father, which I'd say she really enjoyed. And then she's been okay since, really. She had a small seizure over the course of the summer. They're the ones that really scare me, the seizures, because they're just different, and they're more dangerous, I think. But hopefully they'll be, we can control them with medications. Well, I'm optimistic because I think, I've been coming to these conferences for the last 4 years, 5 years, well, 4 years. And back then, there wasn't really any huge reason for optimism. They didn't really know what causes the condition. They had theories. And there wasn't any obvious direction. There was people writing reports on what the condition looked like, but we all know what the condition looked like. We were living with it every day, and you're like, okay, come on, let's get on to something new. Let's try to think about treatments and things like that. So now I think when they found the gene a couple of years ago, that really kicked things off, which is great. And just hearing today from the guys at Duke University that they've got the mouse models is fantastic. And hopefully they can start screening some medications and things. So I think there's reasons. Certainly, there's a lot been done since Kaitlyn, in the short time that Kaitlyn was diagnosed 5 years ago. So I'm hoping that in another 5 years' time, she'll only be 10. There'll even be even more progress. So I'm optimistic. Can't happen soon enough. I think the trickiest part is the unpredictability of it. If you have a child with cerebral palsy, they always have the cerebral palsy. If you have a child with Down syndrome, they'll have the Down syndrome, and there's a baseline, and you can, within reason, of course, all these conditions have their challenges, but the difference I think with AHC is because it's kind of episodic. In a sense, it's hard, to plan family events or holidays or things. You just don't know when, your daughter or your son will have a long episode where you effectively have to kind of, when that kind of episode happens, you kind of nearly have to retreat into your house, into your bedroom, into their bedroom and just concentrate on making them comfortable and feeding them, and you can't do anything else. So that's the difficult part. Going on holidays, how much of the holidays will you be able to enjoy? Well, we just came back from holidays this summer, actually, and we only had one day where she had, a full body episode, and that was just a huge success. So that's the sort of thing, is the unpredictability of it all. But I suppose you kind of learn to get on with it and take every day as it comes, and that's what you end up learning. Yeah, absolutely. I think the reason I set up the group in Ireland was because there wasn't any obvious support network where I was from, or real information. The closest at the time, I think the support I got was from the guys in Utah and the clinicians and physicians there, and that was fantastic. I just thought to myself, it'd be great if there was somewhere closer to my home that you could get that support from. And I think it does need more people to help out with fundraising, to spread awareness, to that sort of thing. But it's tough. I mean, it's hard to expect parents of kids to get heavily involved, because a lot of people are dealing with money troubles or marriage problems, and apart from looking after their kids, so you can't expect too much of them. So yeah, but I mean, every little helps, I guess. Once or twice since Kaitlyn got diagnosed, I've had the hospitals asked me whether they could give my number to one or two families, and I've said yeah. I mean, I know how useful it was for me to be able to talk to parents who've been through it. So there's families who've got new diagnoses from in Ireland. I've spoken to them, and I guess you kind of have to be very sensitive, because they're basically in shock a lot of the times. They've just got this news, and it's an incredibly rare condition. They'll never have heard of it before. That's practically guaranteed. It's hard to pronunciate sometimes, never mind understand. And you just have to let them ask as many questions as they want. And no question is too stupid. And mostly it's about, well, how will my child get on? How how will it develop and all that sort of stuff, and how tough is life with the condition. And I think you have to say to them, there's no point sugarcoating it. I mean, it has challenges for sure, but they do have an enjoyable and full life, and that's just a reality. I know that. It's a bit trickier for the parents sometimes. It's a bit trickier for them, but I'd also be saying to them that there is reasons for hope, reasons that may not have been around when we had our diagnosis 5 years ago, and that's a positive thing. And I think that's it really, just to be available on the end of the phone, and let them kind of process it themselves, and tell them that you're always there if they need to talk again. I think that's all that you need to do.